Welcome to the future, where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is annulled, and a new future is born.
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many. AD on the radio.
It's you and the senorita whooper blowing up the tweeter cause it's me up in the speaker knocking the mama seat top down like a player and the sound up in your ears it is the dopest rhyme say I run a game like a cheater I'm balling like Derek Jeter.
So it is Star Wars Day, May 4th. May the 4th be with you. Also happens to be the day after Ted Cruz dropped out of the presidential race, and for that reason this seems appropriate.
From the beginning, I've said that I would continue on as long as there was a viable path to victory.
Help you again? Yes.
Tonight, I'm sorry to say, it appears that path has been foreclosed.
We're doomed.
Together, we left it all on the field in Indiana. We gave it everything we've got. But the voters chose another path.
I don't like you either.
And so, with a heavy heart, but with boundless optimism for the long-term future of our nation, we are suspending our campaign.
Surrender, Jedi.
Where's this boundless optimism coming from? Like, I mean, he's a fire and brimstone guy that's basically said the end is nigh if Donald Trump manages to secure the nomination. And just found out a little while ago that Kasich has dropped out. So that's it. That's it, right? It's just Trump. Just Trump on the right and Hillary and Bernie on the left. The field has gotten narrowed at an incredible rate. I mean, you look at the clown car-esque aspect of the GOP when all this started out. There were so many people that thought they had a shot at being the GOP nominee for president that they had to separate it into two different debate groups. They had the kids' table. If you were slipping in the polls, you were at the kids' table and you had to debate earlier in the day and nobody really paid attention to you and that was over quickly. And to be honest with you, the vast majority of those folks just seem to be on some sort of book tour using voters' dimes to finance them getting out on the road and pressing flesh and kissing babies and doubtlessly all have something to sell at some stage in the game. But that's it. That's pretty much it. There was a conspiracy theorist in me that believed that John Kasich was still around. John Kasich hadn't dropped out last night. This is a relatively new development because, well, the tiny bit of Alex Jones conspiracy theorist in me felt as though he's got to be there for a reason. I mean, like, he can't, on paper, win. That this is not a thing. Kasich is not a thing in this race. Yet he's still there, which says to me that there's some sort of establishment type of plot afoot that is going to install him as the nominee and shut Donald Trump down. Be like, yeah, that's cute, Trump. Yeah, you're done ranting and raving, and we will not have you. But that's it. That is it. Looks like Donald Trump is our nominee, unless someone comes riding in on a white horse in the 11th hour, which I don't think. I don't. Can they still do that at this stage in the game? I don't know. I think the 11th hour candidate is a great move. When people thought Paul Ryan might do it, I think that would have been humongous for him. Why? Well, look, you get to show up and appear magnanimous very late in the game. You don't have to raise half as much money, and you get 3 times the attention. But no, it looks as though we're down to Trump and Bernie and Hillary. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing in this situation. Whether you live in a swing state or not, you, my friend, look, maybe you're happy that Trump looks like he's at the head of the pack. Maybe you're terrified. Maybe you're somewhere in between. Maybe you're ambivalent. But even if you feel like this is a foregone conclusion, vote. This is, I think, the most important election year that people have their voices heard. And will it affect the outcome of the election if you vote third party, if you vote independent, if you vote libertarian? Well, if you do that, no, probably not. It probably won't affect who we wind up with in the White House in 2017. But it will let you be counted. It will let you be counted, and it will give a voice, a badly needed voice, to the idea that the two-party system in which we exist does not serve the people. Hey, Sam, story time with Sam is afoot. He's got an amazing story about an experience he had with the purple one, which we'll get into next. Thank you so much for hanging out. Tweet us at ADSXE, at FunkFM, at Sam Firestein.
Let's start the show. Hot 1, hot 2, hot 3, hot 8.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
I do what I want, when I want, how I want. Every day you're going and working, running that rat race at that pace in that place will leave a bad taste for anyone, everyone working day after day. So buddy, I gotta say that there's gotta be a better way, yeah. And you do what they told ya, company man, feel it, a mindless little soldier. How can you live like that and maintain your composure before it's begun? Your life's already freaking over, yeah. I do what I want, when I want, how I want, yeah. I do what I want.
So did I give something away just now? Did I do something I oughtn't have done?
No, you're fine. You're
okay, cool.
You're A to the okay.
Good stuff. So it's okay to reveal that you have a story about Prince that you're going to tell a little later on in the show.
I have
cool, right?
story about a artist who was formerly known as the artist.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Well, we are unbelievably stoked to have Sam Firestein here, a rising star in the storytelling community. You've won all sorts of awards.
Actually,
from folks.
AD, there's breaking news coming in.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. NBC has just announced that they're bringing back Celebrity Apprentice this summer. It's Celebrity Apprentice #politics. No, I'm reading this right now. It is 12 political celebrities will compete against each other in the Lord of the Flies campaign to secure spots in the Trump cabinet of horrors. The winner will be the vice president, while everybody else will receive places in the cabinet like Secretary of State, Secretary of the Interior, and whatnot. So,
all right, so
expect a
question.
big summer.
Do we actually think? Do we think Trump's going to win? Like, if you're going with your gut, let's read the room. Funkhauser, Sam, do we think that Trump is going to win?
I don't know. I'm not going to say yes or no. Maybe.
You want me to go with my gut?
Yeah, go with your gut.
My gut hurts.
Yeah.
I'm in a lot of pain right now. It's. Do I think Trump could win? Sure, he could.
No, not could. Will.
Oh, will?
Yeah. Like, if you had to guess right now, who's in the White House in 2017?
I would like to. Okay, here's my endless optimism about the American people.
Okay.
I would like to think that Hillary will win, but you never know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't. You can't say for sure at this point. I mean, everybody look when Trump started his campaign, everybody thought it was a big joke. And Ariana Huffington at the HuffPost had decided that we're going to put, we're only going to cover his campaign in the entertainment section because he's such
in the entertainment
buffoon.
section.
And it shows.
Well, I mean, look, that was a fair assumption to make based on what had happened to Donald Trump in the past when he's like, I'm going to be president, and the entire country laughed him out of the proverbial room. And this time around, when he went, I'm going to be president, people were like, hey, we're sick of stuff. We need something different. Okay, look at the neurosurgeon guy and the billionaire mogul and the copy machine CEO, and that's what we need because we're sick of career politicians. And like when you look at, like, I was going back through some show notes that I had from 4 years ago when Donald Trump was talking about being in the election back in the day, and it was a non-running joke. It was a comedic. It was a comedic tour de force that every single radio hack and talk show host was really stoked about. And it got real mighty quick this time out. It's just like, so to me, all bets are off. Like someone like Ariana Huffington going, we're only going to cover Donald Trump in the entertainment section because that's what this is, goofy entertainment. You understand why she said something like that at the beginning of all this based on what had happened the last couple times. Trump was like, hey, everybody, I'm going to be president. Like, totally made sense, but it's just for whatever reason, and there's all sorts of speculation about what it might be, this has picked up an awful lot of steam.
I mean, quite honestly, the man that we should be asking this question of is Mike Judge. Because it was way, 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 way back. Well, I mean, the guy's like Yoda at this point, right? Because this was basically, he prophesized this in Idiocracy so many years ago, and everybody thought, that was hilarious. So funny. And no, it's prophetic.
I'm going to start watching Silicon Valley a little more attentively. Like, going to get tips on what's going to happen in the not too distant future, thanks to the genius and the ability to see over the horizon.
It really
Mike
takes
Judge
like
has.
the man who created both Beavis and Butthead that we should be asking who the next president will be.
Yeah. No, it's an interesting time, and like I have to believe now more than ever before. Look, maybe you're super stoked that Donald Trump looks like he's going to clinch the nomination, and like on paper, I would have told you no, Donald Trump is not going to be elected president. But based on everything that's happened over the last several months, all bets are off in my mind. I think it is, it's more than a distinct possibility. Lots of people have been laughing the idea out of the room, even when his campaign picked up all kinds of speed, and even when it started to look like he had an incredibly large amount of support, not only on the right, but there's people that don't like Hillary that are willing to cross party lines from the left because up till about a minute and a half ago, historically speaking, Donald Trump was a Democrat. So like it could happen. And I believe that it could happen. And I think now more than ever before, it's really important to look after your own. Like maybe you like the idea, maybe you don't, but based on what could or could not be happening over the next 4 years, now is the time to exercise personal responsibility over your own life. Story time with Sam when we return. Thank you so much for hanging out.
It's you and the senorita. Whooper blowing up the tweeter, cause it's me up in the speaker. Knocking the mama seat top down like a player. And the sound up in your ears, it is the dopest rhyme. Say I run a game like a cheater. I'm balling like...
Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radio Land. All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah. Give it up, yeah. Bring this on, come on, come on. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. You do what we do. You do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. You do what we do. You do what we do. Well, it's a new one. Here I come again, coming again. Taking it back to the place where I'm picking up the pen. And before I started, it's already a killer. When you know that you're good, I gotta say that it's a thriller. Hey, I do it.
So we will continue to discuss the imminent possibilities of who will be occupying the House that is white in Washington, D.C. A little later on. Right now, though, we are blessed to have, we are fortunate to have
that House is definitely going to be white. Just depends on how white.
We are fortunate enough to have award-winning storyteller Sam Firestein in studio with us. And are we doing this in this segment, Funkhauser? This is all right. Well, in that case, Sam, kindly take it away.
Way back when I was just a young lad, a whippersnapper back in the early 90s, I was a production assistant in commercials, and on the very rare and very horrible occasion in music videos. The thing was, when you worked in commercials, it was fantastic. Nobody cared that I was working in commercials because they weren't sexy like music videos. Nobody cared that I would do like a 10-day shoot for Bank of America or 15 days on FedEx or General Electric. But you would work on these massive campaigns that had massive budgets. And they were these huge image campaigns for these giant corporations, and it was great. The hours were brutal. They were terrible, but there was still humanity to the job. Unlike music videos, where they never seemed to have a budget, you would go to work and go home 3 or 4 days later just having been brutalized and receive no overtime, because they would always say things to you like, "Oh, we just don't have the budget. We just don't have the budget," or "How great is it that you got to watch Aerosmith play for 5 hours?" It's like, you know what? No, those guys were hanging out in a motorhome, and I was, covered in pain and sweat, and I hurt, and I just want money. But the problem was, back then, the most groundbreaking film that was being created was happening in music videos, because you had directors like David Fincher. I got to tell you, I had zero interest in spending 15 days on a Paula Abdul video, right? But also, just so you know, it is because of David Fincher.
Was it the one with the cartoon dancing cat?
No, that was the one video David Fincher did not direct. But he created Paula Abdul. Her album was a complete failure until the head of the record company came to David and said, "David, I only have $40,000. Make me a video. We want to break this artist." And he made the straight up video, and then it was game over, and she's still plaguing us today. But I was standing there on set on the 5th video from that record watching David Fincher work, and I'm looking at this kid, and this is before anybody outside of music video knew who he was. And to me, I was just staring at this guy going, oh my God, somehow Stanley Kubrick and Ridley Scott have made a child together, and this is him. And then, also back then, you had Michael Bay. Then there was Spike Jonze and Mark Romanek and Michel Gondry. I mean, these videos that they would make were events, and you wanted to be there to be a part of it. Or other times, you would get that phone call, and it would come through, and you would just hear the name, and you knew you had to take the job. Bruce, the Stones, Bowie, McCartney. You couldn't not take the job. And so one day the phone call comes through, and it's this guy, Mike, production coordinator. He goes, "Hey, got a music video happening. Trust me, you want to be here for this one. We're starting tomorrow. Are you coming? Are you in?" I'm like, "Well, no, absolutely not. Like, who is it? Why do I want to be there?" And he's like, "I can't tell you. The artist has requested, is demanding complete and total secrecy. We don't know the name of the song. We don't have a track. We have nothing. We just need to know, are you in?" I'm like, "Well, I think you're lying, because I know that there must be an art department, and there must be a sound guy, and there must be that. Who is it?" And he goes, "The artist is requesting complete and total secrecy. The album is all being released with the video and the single. Everything is dropping on the exact same day. Nobody knows." And so I start going through my head really quickly. I'm like, who could it be? Like, who would be demanding such things? And I'm like, is it Michael? Is it Michael? And he's like, it is not Michael. And then I thought about it. It was like, no, you know what? Michael does nothing in secrecy, right? I mean, way on the Herb Ritts video out in the Salton Sea, he had a huge crew there, but they did put up screens in front of the crew. So none of the crew who was working on the video could watch Michael actually perform, which was absurd. But that was all Michael had ever done in secrecy. Because, I mean, the guy, he didn't even sleep with young boys in secrecy, right? Like, he would go on the news holding hands with them and be like, "I sleep with young boys." Like, he would release press releases that he was going to have a press release. Like, he was doing everything. So it wasn't Michael. I knew that. And then I'm like, is it Janet? Is it Janet? It's like, no, it's not Janet. I'm like, Madonna. Is this a Madonna thing? It sounds like a Madonna thing. He's like, it is not. Are you going to take the job or not? I have a bunch of people to hire. And oh my God. Oh my God. It's Prince, right? It's Prince. Tell me it's Prince. Just say the word purple and I'll know it's Prince. And he's like, "Look, I cannot say a word, but trust me, you want to be there for this. Are you coming?" And I told him, I said, "Okay, I'm coming. But I tell you what, if Dave Matthews comes walking through that door, we are going to have a big problem." He's like, "Just shut up and I'll see you tomorrow at Raleigh." So there I am. Raleigh Studios, stage 1. It's their massive, massive stage. And I get there. And over the next couple of days, just imagine it's like a few hundred ants working like mad in time-lapse photography. And you have grips and sparks, and they're up in the rafters stringing cables and throwing up lights, and this massive set gets built around, and it's this huge stage, and everything's just happening. And it's incredible to see all of these people, and nobody goes home, right? It's just 24/7 of just absurd work building this thing, because it's all got to be in secret. But of course there are no secrets, and all the crew, like everybody on the crew, absolutely knows who it is. And if you asked anybody who they thought it was, they would tell you with complete conviction. Because the thing is, if you need an answer about anything in life, not that it'll be rooted in any sort of fact, but just ask a random crew member on set and they will tell you they know, and they will. And you started walking around and they're going, oh, it's definitely Michael. Oh, or it's Madonna. No. This is Aerosmith. I swear to God. They would just come and they would be had total conviction. And of course, I'm walking around set saying things like, I'm pretty sure it's Jim Morrison. I'm pretty sure it's Jim Morrison. And they would look at me and they go like, dude, he's dead. And I would just look at them with dead eyes and be like, did your parents have any children that lived? Some people, it's so sad that they have no sense of humor. But at some point on like the second or third day, I didn't even know anymore because I hadn't seen the passage of time, because I hadn't seen sunlight in a couple of days. I'm standing at the production table and I'm trying to convince one of the wardrobe assistants that it's definitely a Beatles reunion. And she's looking at me, but isn't John Lennon dead? And I'm like, it's not, it's a little more complicated than that. And I'm going on with her, but I hear like the Rob, the line producer, he's on the phone and you could hear him and he's going like, what? No, are you kidding? No. Ugh. Okay. And he hangs up the phone and he looks at Mike. He goes, let's get Pete over here. Pete was the first AD. He goes, we got to gather. It's just, and we're all looking at him like, what the hell is going on? So they get the first AD over there and they have like this private conversation. And the first AD is like going like, are you kidding? What? Okay, fine. Like they both have the same thing of like just overworked, way too much pressure, and something has happened. And I'm trying not to giggle because I know whatever this is, it's going to be bad. And I can't wait to hear it. And so they gather the entire crew, like they get on the walkies and Pete's like, all work stops now, gather everybody, and trying to stop that kind of work going on and gather everybody around. It's nearly impossible, but they do it. They gather the entire crew, and then Rob makes the speech and he goes, okay, in a half hour, the artist will be coming to inspect the stage. At that time, and everybody's like, no big deal, because it's like artists always show up. But then he goes, at that time, all work will have to stop. All work stops. And no one can speak, can say one word, or look at the artist as the artist inspects the set. And everybody just starts laughing. They're like, are you freaking kidding? Really? Oh, you want this? But he yells at the crew. He's like, this has to happen now. Do you understand? Nobody's to look. Nobody's to make a noise. Anybody who does will be fired immediately. Which, a couple of things. One, the easiest way to get a crew to stop working is to call lunch, right? If you put food in them, then they will stop working. Or the other easiest way to get them to stop working is to say, guys, we need you to work twice as hard right now. But if you need them to stop working and you say, guys, please stop working, nobody will stop working. And also trying to stop that kind of work, we're all working against the clock. And trying to get that kind of work stopped, it's like trying to stop a train that is running downhill. It is impossible. But everybody goes back to work and everybody's going like, I'm not going to stop working. Goddamn, screw that guy. Like, of course, because everybody on crew acts like a 15-year-old rebel. And so we're all going along. And then about 20 minutes later, 10 minutes short, we hear, what is this? We get a call from the front gate. Eagle has landed. Like you start hearing ridiculous things coming out of the walkie-talkies. All work stops. And so they start to get all work stopped. And then they go, what? And then, usually when people walk onto set, they're like, the car's here, the car's here, the car's here. Usually when people show up to set, you hear, like they walk in through the stage door. No, but they go, open the barn doors, open the barn door. Like the giant barn door. So all work comes to a screeching halt. Nobody is moving. Nobody is breathing. And then they say, the artist is here, the artist is here. And then they crank open the giant barn door, which is it's impossible to get these things open. These are used for cranes and trucks and staging to get brought in. But this giant door slowly opens in the crack of sunlight, and it's a south-facing door, and the sun is just shining through, blistering through, and the door opens, and you hear the cranking. And then you see, and everybody's blinded by the sunlight, and nobody's looking, even though everybody's looking, but nobody's supposed to be looking. And then you see this one tiny silhouetted figure come walking through and slowly coming out of the sunlight, this darkened figure, and it's Prince. And he starts walking slowly across the soundstage, and all you can hear is the click of his tiny heel as it makes its way across the stage. And then and nobody is breathing, but everybody is staring. And then as he gets halfway across the stage, you hear a long, low whistle of "Here Comes the Bride" erupt from somewhere in the rafters. And it echoes throughout this cavernous soundstage. And everyone on set, 250 people, there is a cringe that takes place, a spine-crushing cringe. And Prince, without missing a beat, without blinking an eye, turns on his heel and walks directly out of the stage, back into his car, and leaves. That was a $300,000 whistle. And everybody erupts and starts laughing hysterically, and nobody wants to laugh, but they can't not. And the producer is just screaming and going out of his mind and losing it. And I got to tell you, there are rock star moments, and then there are rock star moments, and there was no more rock star moment on earth than that. I got to tell you, I have gotten to see Prince perform 7 times. I saw him in massive arenas and down to tiny little rock clubs. I stood 3 feet away from Prince for 3 hours as he played at the Troubadour a few years ago. But I got to tell you, of all the performances I ever seen Prince do, there was no more incredible moment than that moment on stage. And you know why he did it? Because he could. Because he was Prince.
My name is Prince, and I am funky. My name is Prince, the one and only. Hurt me,
Now, more AD on the radio.
Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me. Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me.
Unbelievable. Sam Firestein, ladies and gentlemen. Follow him on Twitter at Sam Firestein is where he can be. Can people see you performing that stuff live anytime in the not too distant future if they happen to be in the Los Angeles area? Are you doing any traveling with your storytelling yet?
I was just in New York 2 weeks ago, so if you want to fire up your flux capacitors, I did a couple shows in the old New York. And yes, I have a show on the 12th that I will be doing in Los Angeles called Nurses and Hypochondriacs. Guess which one I am.
Well, I've yet to see you in Candy Stripes, so I'm going to go out on a limb and guess the
I
one
look
that's where
good
you're
in
gonna die.
Candy Stripes, but sadly, I will be.
Now
one of
I'm
the
picturing it, and I wish I wasn't, but now I'm picturing it. And you know what? I got to agree.
It's no more traumatizing than a Trump
yeah.
presidency. Come on. And then on the 22nd, I will be telling a story at Word Now Stories in Pasadena. So there are 2 times you can come see me this month.
That is awesome.
If you're in Los Angeles.
Go see Sam do his thing live. People can stay updated on Twitter at Sam Firestein. And do you have like a website or something where people can listen to your stories from days gone by? Are you one of those people that don't like to put that stuff up online just because, it's cool if you go on a radio show like this and we podcast it after the fact, but are you one of those people that doesn't like to give the game away? That doesn't like people recording your stuff because if they come to a show, you don't want them to know the thrilling conclusion in advance.
I don't want them to know the thrilling conclusion in advance. And so, no, I don't have those things posted on a website, but they are posted on a lot of different, podcasts and whatnot. And I've done this shows for NPR and I've done Risk and I've done your show many times. So they're out there. So if somebody is sort of fanatical and stalkerish, they could find them. But otherwise, no, because, I just like to live my life. I don't like the cameras and the paparazzi and the people.
You like to be pious and low key with your millions. You like telling your stories, but everything that goes along and hand in hand with it is just an abysmal drag.
One day as a storyteller, I hope to be a thousandaire.
Let me ask you this. You made a remark about it being no more frightening than a Trump presidency. I have to say, one of the things that has come out of this election cycle being what it is that there's people on both sides of the fence. Look, there's been a lot of extremists in this race. There's been a lot of people that are non-traditional candidates. There's been a lot of people with some pretty powerfully leaning views, whether it's left or right or completely independent. And at some stage in the game, I think one thing that's been very interesting about this incredibly polarized presidential race is I have met people that 100% believe something that I just can't get with it. And like I said, it's not a party specific thing, but I have found that things being so polarized. There's people that listen to this show that think very differently from how I do. There's people that I know in life that think very differently from how I do. And it's really made me respect folks. There's a guy called Scott Briscoe on Twitter who's a Trump guy and one of the most thoughtful, intelligent people I've ever met. I know some people in person that are thoughtful and intelligent that are huge supporters of people that I believe to be in cloud cuckoo land on both sides of the fence. And it's really made me rethink my level of respect for folks, and not in a negative way. It's not like my respect for them has diminished. It's been like things are so divided at the moment. I meet people and go, you think something that I think is actually crazy, yet I really like you and I respect you. And that's been good. Like that's a one sort of silver lining, that one bridge building aspect of this election that I've found. Have you found it's brought you closer to people or divided you from people over the last couple of months?
Oh, I try to avoid all political talk with pretty much anybody. I just can't stand it. And, people love to get into the echo chamber arguments on Facebook and Twitter and whatnot. It really does no good. It's not like there's like thoughtful discourse going on. Everybody just wants to scream and yell about the things that they want to scream and yell about. And, the way I can sum up this entire campaign is what I'm hoping for is that if you saw that out here in Los Angeles or in California, there's this famous vegan restaurant called Cafe Gratitude. They're up and down the old coast here. And the owners of it, which, I mean, they'll serve you vegan dishes like a big bowl of bliss and whatnot. It's literally
what is a big bowl of bliss?
I don't know, but there's no meat involved. It's just that they're where all the vegans love to go and overspend for food with nothing but some vegetables in it. But the owners, it turned out on their blog, the owners of this restaurant had decided to start eating meat again, had been raising their own cows and ethically slaughtering them and eating the meat. And now their hordes of vegans have been threatening the lives of the owners of the restaurant. Yes,
nice.
Which is sort of like, pro-lifers killing abortion doctors, right? It's like, and so you get down that. Now what I'm hoping for is that all of the Bernie supporters will sort of overtake the Cafe Gratitudes in Los Angeles and Berkeley and sort of get in there the way the ranchers did in Oregon with that, and kind of take over and. Because it's just that absurd, right? It is just, and this is how far out the people have gotten. And, as far as the presidency goes, you know what? If I'm going to have a heart transplant, you know what I want? I want somebody who's been to the best medical schools. I want somebody who's spent years and years and years working on this and perfecting their techniques and go in, because you know what? They're going to rip my heart out of my body and they're going to put a fresh heart in it. And I feel the same way about the presidency. You know what? The United States is a giant country. There's a lot of people in it. There's a lot of opposing views, and you need somebody that is been trained for this job. They've spent their entire adult life working towards this goal, not somebody who just goes, you know what? I feel like doing this.
Interesting. Very interesting stuff. We will go over the events of today in our segment My Witness News when we return with super producer to the stars Barry Funkhauser. Tweet him at FunkFM, tweet Sam at Sam Firestein, and tweet me if you like too at ADSXE. Thank you so much for hanging out.
There's something happening here, and you should know what it is.
The Dumbing Up of America. Now, more AD on the radio.
I think I'm in the Illuminati now. I just got followed on Twitter by someone called the Knights Templar. Did you see Jean-Claude Van Damme? Did you see this yesterday, Sam? Jean-Claude Van Damme went on the record saying, neither Ted Cruz nor Donald Trump are going to wind up president. Why? Because of the Illuminati. This is the muscles from Brussels had that to say about the American political process. He was like, it's the Illuminati. And as we said yesterday on the show, when it comes to the idea of secret societies controlling our futures and the geopolitical implications there, and we try not to weigh in until we've heard from Steven Seagal, but an interesting theory nevertheless.
That's the problem with this with this whole political season, is that we are looking to people like
Jean-Claude
Van Damme, right? JCVD. Let's keep in mind, you can't spell Jean-Claude Van Damme without VD. And we're asking his, and he's not even a United States citizen, yet we're asking for his whole opinion on how this is going to work out. Would we expect anything less than an Illuminati quote from...
reference from that guy? I don't know. All I can think of now is I know he's been in movies. I don't think I've ever seen any of them. I know he was in an episode of Friends. I'm pretty sure I saw that back in the day. And the only thing I can think of when I think Jean-Claude Van Damme now is him doing the splits between two 18-wheelers as Enya plays in the background. And he's weighing in, and we're paying attention to it. But I kind of understand why people in other countries do this. I mean, America's huge. America sneezes, the rest of the world gets a cold. Everyone across the planet is nail biting at the moment as to the results of this election. It's interesting stuff, to be sure.
But you would think even in whatever ridiculous little Euro fake country that JCVD comes from, that they would have somebody there better than him to weigh in.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
The muscles from Brussels.
The muscles. Is he from Brussels?
He's from Brussels. Where, incidentally,
Where?
I was born in Brussels.
Well, you are.
Yeah. What are you going to do with that piece of information?
I'm going to go to Brussels, and I want to look at your birthplace and light a little candle and say thank
Brussels,
you.
Belgium is a beautiful place. They're a funny country. Everybody there is kind of sort of happy and or go lucky and a little bit overweight, I noticed when I went back there. I spent no time there. My parents happened to live there.
Oh, I didn't know that Brussels was in the Midwest.
So I went back there and it just they're happy, they're jolly, they drink a lot of beer, and pretty much everything they consume is swimming in about 1.5 inches of butter. And yeah, they're pretty stoked with life in general.
Brussels, and, Iowa.
All right, Funkhauser, let's take a look at the events of today in our segment, My Witness News.
This is My Witness News. In no way, shape, or form fair and certainly not balanced. And now, super producer to the stars, Barry Funkhauser. Barry Funkhauser.
Oh.
Barry Funkhauser.
Who?
Barry Funkhauser.
Oh, hello. How's it going?
I thought there was one more.
It's always a shock.
Generally speaking, when you use that intro, it means you've got some super producing to do. Hey.
What?
We should do one of those things where you say programming note and say what's coming up on the show.
Tomorrow. Programming note. Tomorrow's a big day for some of the AD on the radio affiliates. Jim Brewer in studio talking about his new album. Music album.
Yeah. And provided we don't scare him off, lickety freaking split, he's going to be hanging out for the whole hour. And,
Orlando, y'all get it on Monday. So
yeah, Orlando, you're going to get it on Monday. Everybody else will get it tomorrow. Thank you so much for setting that up. That is where the super part of your super producer name comes into play, Funkhauser. You made that happen, and we are incredibly stoked.
Thank you. Yes, I do it sometimes.
Other
times I don't, so there's that. McDonald's is testing garlic fries.
Speaking of Belgian things, that's a great contribution to Belgian cuisine. Or that's a great Belgian contribution to the world of cuisine is frites, pommes frites. It is not uncommon to go out into the street in Brussels and buy yourself a big cone of fries drenched in garlic and butter, which you can get with a side of snails. Do you eat snails, Sam?
No, I don't. Not regularly.
Have you ever tried them? Have you ever had the escargot?
Well, I was pinned down by a couple of older kids when I was a child, and I had to eat a couple of snails to save my life.
That's different.
Didn't taste
That's not the
French.
delicacy that you have to pay for.
I paid for it.
Yeah. See, there's a certain thing about street meat. I learned through trial and error, mostly error, that
and through trichnosis.
Yeah, that the street meat you want to stay away from is chicken and pork. And probably whatever that anonymous mystery meat is that they put on gyros. I think a lot of that is pork as well. It's just all that stuff.
Gyro.
No good. Gyros. The only street meat I will ever eat is hot dogs and some form of beef because there's less of a chance of dying. And as much as a lot of people in Belgium consider the street meat of snails to be a delicacy, that's not something I feel confident trying anywhere but in a restaurant. But will you be giving the McDonald's garlic fries a go?
Absolutely not. I do not give the McDonald's a go. Are they a sponsor of this show?
No.
Should I be careful of what I say about?
Maybe.
Really?
Depending on which station we're on.
No, you know what? They don't have any McDonald's in Los Angeles, so I won't be able to. But having sat at a Dodger game in August on a boiling hot summer afternoon when this giant guy next to me came back with a bucket full of garlic fries, it basically choked me out. And you just don't want to be sitting next to that guy at a baseball game in August when he's soaked through with beer and garlic fries.
Yeah, that'll kill the whole ambiance for you for sure. I look at it this way. Man boobs, bad breath, waddling and sweating while stinking up the joint. Ladies will be powerless. It arouses a morbid curiosity in me. McDonald's garlic fries, I think I'm going to be eating those. I don't know how many of them I'll be eating, but I'm going to give it a go.
55 years of not touching the menu, they're touching the fries. Is that what's happening?
What do you mean? 55 years. They screw with the menu all the time.
McRib.
Right. Yes.
McRib.
The Shamrock Shake that comes and
but
goes.
now they're doing weird stuff lately.
Really? The McRib isn't weird where they take like just some piece of meat and they actually press it in a machine so it looks like it has bones in it, but it doesn't?
No.
Yeah, the fake bones freak me out.
That's weird.
Like
I'm talking about the other weird stuff. Like they're trying to, quote, get with the times and do trendy hipster meals.
Well, it's pretty
they
funny
have,
the way they do a salad, yet it still has 3,000 calories.
They've got table service as well. There's some McDonald's where you can go to. I think maybe in Florida where you can sit down and have a candlelit meal, and someone will bring you your Big Mac.
If some girl I happen to take hostage at some point, if I ever take her to McDonald's for dinner, she should know she's getting broken up with.
Yeah, and somebody's probably going to yell "World Star."
You remember Randall Reeder, our friend that was in the Deadpool movie that checks in on the show. We're going to get him back sometime in the not too distant future. He recently married a smoking hot Estonian chick. Him and his wife Kate, unbelievably happy, such a sweet couple. It was kind of like hanging out with them when they were first getting together, and you just knew from the get-go that it was going to work out. One of the things he said he liked about her right off the bat was she's from Estonia, I guess not so familiar with a lot of the fast food that America has to offer. And she was like, "What? Hold on. That's a McDonald's. Can we... I love Big Macs. Is it possible that you could take me out for a Big Mac?" He was like, "Cheapest date of my life." And I was just like, wow, look at you go. Very interesting. Very good. What else, Funkhauser?
A new study says women who dress sexy look smarter.
Do we agree?
Who conducted this study?
I think there's a tipping point. And it depends what type of sexy you're talking about. Because there's certainly when someone's attractive, when someone's just like lights up a room when they walk into it, when someone is easy on the eyes. There's Sam. You talked about who were you around? What was the Sam being that you're fit, you're healthy. There's every reason on paper why you should feel good about yourself. You're an accomplished person, and you said you were standing next to two movie stars, and you couldn't have felt more like a troglodyte. Like, what was the situation where you're just
I was. It was at the Matrix 3 premiere, and I was. It was just me, Will Smith, and a little guy named Keanu.
Yeah,
the not cat Keanu.
Right. Yeah.
And these characters were just radiating superstardom, and I just went away and combed the hair on my hump.
So yeah, I think when this theory hangs together for me. Just because, when someone's intimidating for whatever reason, I think you assume that they've got an edge on you. Maybe they're taller. Maybe they're more muscular. Maybe they're more attractive. Maybe you just feel like they're more attractive. Maybe you're in the presence of someone that is very, very accomplished. Maybe you know that they are unbelievably rich. But when someone has some kind of an edge on you in some sort of way, your mind does strange things and assumes that they are superior in a lot of different ways. And I got to be honest with you, it hasn't happened to me much, but when it's happened to me, you notice it. Like, you really, really do. So, this hangs together.
Well, the thing is, I want to know who conducted the study. Was it Harvard or was it DeVry?
I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that it came more from the
Barbizon School of Modeling?
The Barbizon School of Modeling. Is that a thing?
It was when I was a child. Learn to be a model, and they would show these young girls walking with like a book on their head.
Wow. The whole idea of modeling school, like, it's just... I wonder if they accept anyone. Like, here's the thing. Like, do they offer you a reality check at the door where, like, gotta be honest with you, this is just... It's not going to happen. It's not that you're unattractive, but, we're going to take your money and we're going to send you out into the world thinking that you're going to make a living as a model because you've been to our school. It's that we can't teach you to be pretty. It's just the idea that there are modeling schools out there. Just that boy, is that a scam and a half.
Yeah, but why not?
Are you saying my diploma doesn't count?
Very good. Oh, very good.
It got you this job.
Yeah. Modeling school gets you a radio job. People are using their imaginations right now. By the way, I noticed, Funkhauser, a little while ago that Naked Gardening Day came and went, and you did not post another naked gardening picture as you had the year before.
How can I top the one the year before? I guess I could have retweeted.
Answer, you can't. You were right to do that. Go on.
And lastly, Ted Cruz has dropped out of the presidential race.
Right, which we knew. I always think you have more power not being elected. Because, you've garnered a lot of attention. You've garnered a lot of influence. You've garnered a lot of supporters and admirers. And when you're not being held accountable for your actions as an elected official is, you almost have more power to move the needle. So maybe that's why Ted Cruz feels so freaking optimistic about the future of our country. I feel optimistic that we're going to have Sam Firestein back again sometime soon. I feel optimistic that tomorrow will be a legendary show with the great Jim Brewer. And I feel optimistic in telling you that the level of gratitude I feel towards you listening and towards Sam for being part of the show and toward Funkhauser for super producing is humongous. Thank you so much.
Other times you feel like it's cool to turn the other cheek and give people the benefit of the doubt even when they don't deserve it.